Hey there, welcome back to my channel. This is Kate. I am so glad to see you. It has been a hot minute. We had kind of a life upheaval thing. Our bathroom was renovated and we only have the one bathroom, so we had to go on vacation for a while, which was great. But we didn't have any internet on vacation, and then when we got back, they weren't done with our bathroom, so our whole house has been just in this state of upheaval for like a month now. And I think everything is starting to calm down. So cross our fingers, we can get back to normal just in time for preschool to start. My oldest daughter is going to start preschool next month, which is crazy. I also have started doing some volunteer work, which is actually almost over now. It's been so long since I've recorded. But that has been really great, but it's been a bigger time commitment than I really anticipated. So yeah, here we go. We're just gonna see how this goes. I have a stack of books to talk about. They are in no particular order except for the order in which they are stacked in front of me. So let's just go to it. So one book that I finished was Mary Stewart's Rose Cottage. And I really like this book, you guys. I loved it. This is suspense romance is what it's called on the cover. And it was that, but it was like this really quiet romance that was a very chaste romance. Like the romance kind of happened off the scenes after the book ended, but I really liked it. So it takes place just after World War II. World War II, I think. And a widow comes back to the countryside where she grew up and becomes embroiled in this mystery and reconnects with kind of her roots. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I will be reading more Mary Stewart for sure. I highly recommend this one. Another book that I read after we got back was Dear Martin by Nick Stone. So this is one of the Diverse Books Club summer picks for the summer. It's a YA book about a young black man who is kind of coming to terms with his race and what being a young black man in America means as he's about to go off to college. And he does this through the lens of writing letters to Martin Luther King Jr. and trying to live his life the way that Martin would have lived. And it's very interesting. It's really hard not to compare this book to The Hate U Give as you're reading it, but doing so does it a disservice because it is definitely a different book. There are some obvious comparisons and parallels to be drawn, but it's very different. And I could see like The Hate U Give being really great for older students, older kids, and this might be better even for younger kids. It was a little bit more straightforward, isn't the right word because it's still complicated and nuanced, but it's complicated and nuanced in a more straightforward way, if that makes sense. Anyways, I also really enjoyed this one, and it is a super fast YA read. I read this really, really quickly, so I recommend this one as well. Book ending our trip. Let's see if I can grab them. There's these two are two books in a series, Sweet Tea and Sympathy and Ain't She a Peach by Molly Harper. And I really enjoy both of these. Like, obviously, I read this one before we left, and then I had ordered this one, and it was waiting for me when we got back so I could read it as well. And I purchased them because I wanted to be able to reread these. So one of my genre kryptonites is quirky, southern, small town, family, drama, romance type thing. As far as the type of book that I go to when I need to escape or relax. And that's exactly what I used this book for. We were getting ready to leave. We were getting ready for our house to be renovated, and it was like I was super stressed out, and I just took some time that afternoon and started reading this and could not put it down, and I loved it so much. The premise is there is our main character, Margot, who was an event planner in Chicago, and the first few pages, you realize that something not great has happened, like catastrophically not great happens in her work life, and she's kind of forced to, or has the opportunity to move and reconnect with her family that she hasn't known, her father's side of the family that she hasn't known in Georgia, right? Yeah, in Georgia, in the small town Georgia. And her family, she gets to go work for the family business, which is a bait shop and funeral parlor. Like, what is more quirky than that? I don't know. Anyways, romance ensues, funniness ensues, lots of fried food is mentioned. It's really, really great. And then this is a second book in the series, which follows a different set of characters, same family, different characters, and Margot makes an appearance and is also very, very good. So I recommend these as well. Oops, there we go. I like them a lot. And then, actually, I think I did that almost in exactly the opposite order that I read them, because the other book that I finished that I had been reading before was Amity and Prosperity. And I'm going to try to do a separate review on this. We'll see if that works out. This is a book about fracking in Pennsylvania, and it follows one family who is affected by the fracking in these small towns of Amity and Prosperity. And ultimately, I liked the book. I had some kind of serious quibbles with the way that the information was presented, particularly towards the end of the book. And this I did read as an ARC, but not because I got it from the publisher, because my husband has access to ARCs at work. So I did get it for free, but I didn't get it from the publisher. And I don't know, obviously, like the problems that I had were pretty structural. So the first part of the book was great. It really taught me a lot about fracking, and in a way that was accessible. I'm not science illiterate, but I'm also very much not a scientist. And this really kept my attention even through the sciencey bits. So I think that's a really big plus. I didn't like it as much when it went into the legal aspect of things. It followed the legal battle of this family, which was good, but for some reason it did not hold my attention as well. I didn't think that I didn't like some of the historical parallels, things like that. Overall, though, first half of the book especially, I recommend it. Check it out from the library if fracking is something that you're interested in learning more about, and learning more about like the personal side of fracking, how it affects actual people who are living in areas affected. I think this was great. And like I said, the first half of the book especially, the writing is really, really beautiful and engrossing in a way that doesn't make it feel like you're reading nonfiction, even though you clearly are reading nonfiction. So I recommend this one with caveats, and hopefully I'll do a full review and talk about that a little bit more, but mom life, who knows. Finally, what I'm reading now is more nonfiction. I think that ignited a nonfiction bug in me, because I'm currently reading Prairie Fires, The American Dreams of Laura Ingalls Wilder by Carolyn Fraser. This is the Pulitzer Prize-winning nonfiction book from last year. And one of the reasons I'm reading this, besides just the fact that it's really interesting, is that my youngest daughter is 3. She likes chapter books, and I'm really struggling to just find books that are age appropriate for her, because she's 3. But she likes, like, basically the longer the book, the better, as far as she's concerned. She may be my child. It's possible. And so part of me wants to start with the Little House books, because it feels like they feel like they could be age appropriate, but there's so much nuance and like historical context that I feel like has to go in with that book, that I'm just not sure. So that's part of the reason why I'm reading this, is to really prepare myself for when my daughter's ready for those books, which I don't think is going to be now, because I really want to give her more information. But I really do like this. It's hard for me to read a book like this. So I was a historian, and particularly an environmental historian. So it's hard for me to turn off that part of my brain that's like super, super critical of history books when I read books like this. So like there's the very beginning prologue that talks about the Dakota Uprising. I liked that it was in there, but I didn't particularly care for the way that she did it. There was a couple little things that I was nitpicking about. But since then, I've really enjoyed the book. And I'm not even halfway through, you guys. I am such a slow nonfiction reader. So I'm just poking my way through this and enjoying it, and I will keep you posted on how I like it. So if you've read any of these books, I would love to hear about what you thought, and any other comments or anything, leave them down below, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.